All right, Shalom. First off, I want to start by saying all praises, honor, and glory is due unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Kakadash. So all praises to the one calls God, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh, for the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, for his beloved Son. I also want to say double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, preaching his word in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Tazaban, the Great Millstone, Arizona Camp, well, with another video to edify. And I want to go into this video. It's 3 minutes long. I'm gonna play the whole thing. This is a fair use act, right? I did not video disclaimer, copyright act disclaimer, right? This video is being strictly used for edification, strictly used for educational purposes. I do not own the rights to this video, so now that BS is out the way, I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna play this video, grab some precepts, and Lord willing, this all be edifying.
It continues to struggle with a worsening inflation. Yet the bigger story and bigger worry is not inflation, but the distinct possibility of a recession. The White House is sticking to its message. They say that the warnings of a recession underestimate the resilience of the U.S. economy. Joe Biden...
And in that statement, underestimating the resilience of the U.S. economy, let me get this. Is this. They really believe that they're never going to be taken out of power, right? They know that they're crashing the system, but them ever not being the victor, it's not in their mind. It says, it's Revelation 18:6. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. How much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit in queen, am no widow, and shall see no sorrows. And we're in time the sorrows for this devil's kingdom, right?
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has backed the president's position that a recession is not inevitable.
It's President Biden's top priority to bring it down. And Chair Powell has said that his goal is to bring inflation down while maintaining a strong labor market. That's going to take skill
and this told should have been done lost her job, right? This mofo sat there and said economic stimulus wasn't going to affect the economy. She said slowing down businesses wasn't going to affect economies. People should be up in arms about this chick saying anything, right? Ghastly looking bitch, man.
But I believe it's possible. I don't think a recession is inevitable.
Last week, the U.S. Central Bank took an aggressive action to address skyrocketing prices. The federal government launched its biggest interest rate hike in nearly 3 decades. This action may have aimed to reassure the public. Economic analysts are concerned of a looming recession. And as the cliche goes, whenever America sneezes, the world catches a cold. One cannot...
Right. So I'm going to just stop it there. Brothers can look this up. It's the U.S. inflation crisis, semicolon, or colon. Is America heading towards a recession? And yes, it is, right? It's heading towards a recession. It's heading to a full-on crash, right? And Babylon the Great is going to fall, right? When you go to the book of James, the 2nd chapter, the 5th chapter, I'm going to start at the first verse. It says, Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. And the rich man's wealth, the rich man's strength is a strong city. So the rich men of America are howling now. All the fact that this Bitcoin is crashing, you got young niggas that made all this money ready to commit suicide. And they are, right? They're weeping in hell for the misery that's starting to come upon them. It says your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. And all that debt, all that economic downturn, the lack of production here, that is part of their riches being corrupted and their garments, that covering, being moth-eaten, right? Debt is eating at the covering of America. It says your gold and silver is cankered, right? And the rest of them shall be witness against you, and eat your flesh as it were fire. And that rust goes back into that thick clay, right? That the scriptures talk about. Let's get that. Habakkuk 2:6. It says, shall not all these take a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, saying, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and how long, and to him that laden himself with thick clay. Right? That thick clay is that debt. When you go into that word, that debt, right? So that those riches that were cankered, the silver and gold that was cankered, the rust that was there, was all that debt that was just corroding the value of that dollar. It says, ye have heaped up treasures together for the last day. Behold, the hire of the laborers, who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered in the ears of Yahweh of Sabaoth. Right? The average everyday person not having enough, but working all these hours a week. Right? Those people are sitting, the prayers of those people are going into the ears of the Lord. The whining, the sighing, the crying for the abominations. The Lord is starting to take notice, and America is about to fall. This is Genesis 47:15. It says, and when the money fell in Egypt, and when the money failed in Egypt, in the land of Egypt, and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. And that's what's happening in America. And it's going to have a global rippling effect. Right? A little twitch of a muscle is going to cause all these weaker nations to go down, man. This is Ecclesiastes 12:1. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Right? And this is why brothers have told and preached and prophesied for men to store up their riches in heaven and not on earth. Because that you storing up your riches in heaven, right, protects you from the calamities that are about to befall America and actually the globe. The encompassing of all these people in the world. Because those that don't have those riches in heaven, you'll have nothing to sit here and bring forth to the Lord for that protection. Right? So you're supposed to remember the Lord now before these evil days, before you can say you have no pleasure. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, and the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the grinding is starting to cease. These businesses are not going to be able to survive. You got truckers talking about how they're going to have to sit here and basically give up on the business. Let's go there. 1 second. Where's it at? I was looking at it this morning.
It's all good. Not to mention the shortage of food, the shortage of farmers growing food in America. The next few months is going to be less and less and less. Do you know what happens when a store shelf goes empty for 3 days in the inner city? That means there's food riots. People start panicking. This is coming to America this year, very soon. The trucking industry will be shut down because the fuel prices are so outrageous they can't afford to even, it costs $1,000 a day to run a truck on the highway in fuel. Plus the depth shortages, the fuel shortages. That's why the trucking industry is going to be shut down, because they can't afford to keep running.
You see? The grinder ceasing. Right? It says, verse 4. It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. I'm going to Ecclesiastes 12:4. When the sound of the grinding is low, And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all daughters of music shall be brought low. There's no longer going to be that joyous spirit. It's Galatians 6:8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of his flesh reap corruption. Right? So all these people that only thought about chasing a bag, right? When they could have been chasing the Lord. Now here it is. We're in a time now where you're going to wish, you're going to despise the fact that you didn't have the knowledge that the men of the Yahweh Shemel Shai have, the wisdom and the faith that we have, right? Because you sold to your flesh, and now what? You're starting to reap corruption. The market's failing, your money's being devalued. It says, but he that soweth to the spirit shall reap life everlasting, right? This is Proverbs, what is this? 27-24. It says, for riches are not forever, and doth the crown endure to every generation, right? So riches are not forever. And right now, you're seeing that those riches are dwelling in America. This is Proverbs 28-22. He that hasteth to be rich hath an evil eye. And a lot of these people that have gotten this wealth, they got it by wickedness. Even your peon that was able to sit here and make 6 figures a year, right? Able to make, high 3s, high 4s, high 5s. A lot of them did a lot of wickedness to even be able to get that type of a check. It says, and consider it not that poverty shall come upon them. America represents this as well. They hasted to those riches by what? Defrauding everybody, robbing everybody. And they didn't consider that poverty is about to come. And we're in that time where poverty is here. Right? So Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to say call law, Yahweh Shemel Shai, by Shemar Karkadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy, and hopeful leg. Shalom.